Era does want to bring in that Ying still, deciding that it's effective on this map none the least. But nothing too crazy coming out from the defensive side, going with a pretty standard lineup here. We'll see if that works out for them. Snake going to be bringing that Lion, bringing a lot of intel to his team. Thatcher as well is a good combo. I like to see it because you can disable a lot of stuff for that rush attack, traps and things like that. But also if they bring a mute, it's a good way to make sure they can't even use those mute jammers as a way to block Lion's ability. Not that that's a big, strong reason to pick Thatcher, but it does help.
It definitely gives, I think one of the important positions where you can set up a mute jammer is near a Mira window, because definitely Mira is going to be using that to throw a C4 next to her, or just give her a bit of space to move around.
We usually see a lot of bandit batteries as well, but maybe switching out for the mute jammer might be more appropriate just to be able to be more invisible like that, especially if you put it kind of in between so you can kind of play the soft wall a little bit more without being seen. I can see it's a possibility, but it does make sense here as well if you think about the attack with this Thatcher combined with the Ying, the ability to clear out a lot of utility and traps before you rush in, because you're going to be rushing in through smoke. Seems like a good idea, but we'll see. We've seen a lot of attacks on Office, more so sometimes than the attacks on the A-wall on the locker side, so I'm curious to see which way they're going to go from. So far it looks like kind of an attack towards the CCTV, possibly pushing for that A site, but it's still usually a lot of teams clear out CCTV even if they're not going to attack the A-wall side. Typical stairwell clear here for East Stairwell, just to make sure that there's no one going to be peeking that. This is usually an easy take. Most teams not contesting this, but catching that camera was a nice pick.
A very good start off here for Eternities to come in. They clear up anything that can give Space Station any intel or what's happening around. They don't have a pulse on SSG, so Era wants to limit as much information as possible and rely on the Lion for a final push to isolate all the defenders.
It's surprising, actually, they didn't bring a Hibana, so they're definitely relying on Thermite as well as their hard breach. We've talked in the past about in this new meta, a lot of teams actually not bringing as much hard breach capability, but Hibana is someone that sees such a high pick rate. To see it not picked just because Lion's in the mix now is interesting.
It's going to be even more interesting because we're going to have pick and bans for our next season. So that's definitely something to look out for. But for now, Snake Nade does not take any damage here as he peeks in through the south balcony. Just checking through. These open walls might make it a bit complicated for him if he tries to move in. This basically denies the attackers from taking any control on the CCTV.
It's a little risky for him to be peeking early in a situation, though, when he has not used any of those line abilities. We see what happens. Oh, as I say that, of course, he uses one, which is good. You want to make sure you fire at least one of those off to help some roam clear early, not peek into and face check any roamers who might be peeking the windows on you.
See, Bandit is going to be very preoccupied with the drone there as his batteries are going to get taken down by Crazy Era.
See the Zofia playing on this window. This is typically one where we see a lot of Blackbeard or Glaz play, but this is a nice angle as well because he can open up some of those wall angles with those grenades, as well as to get some stuns to help his team out if he needs to. And of course, Candela's going to be going out. Gives him actually a good chance to clear out that barbed wire, and still with 2 Candelas and smokes left. I like that utility use.
So not sure about this position here. My man getting a bit too aggressive on the peak, taking just a bit of damage from the Bandit battery. Shala rotating in from below into the central stairs. He doesn't need to peek out just yet. Now you see the smokes that are isolating the defense as they try to rush into the B site. Maybe it's just go for the defense plan, but no, Dave is ready. C4 is going to come out from the Valkyrie, and my man will go down. Snake Nade using the same angle we saw before, but Trippin knocks him down. That's crazy on the ground with the C4, and Lion will finally use his charge here. Is already Candelas are out of play because Ying is down, and same for Thatcher. Era have to play a lot more passive, but Snake Nade, perfect spot, takes one, double headshot. Dave and Chala will go down, and Bosco will get one more to turn it now into a 3 versus 1. Redeemer all on his own, and the bomb diffuser has been planted. And not much to do here as Snake Nade is ready, and the Vector 308 doing the damage.
Nice 3K for Snake.
That was some beautiful play here by Snake.
All I can say about SSG that round is the only thing they were able to kill with was C4. Their guns just seemingly completely ineffective. Unfortunate for them. Not a great start for them that round, but that was definitely a good use of Lion in terms of getting a lot of people to stay still, not as much necessarily to catch them on the outlines, and it definitely worked in their favor. They were able to get a lot of damage, and then Snake holding some nice angles. I mean, they stacked up on that stairwell, though. That was kind of a freebie, that second one, hoping to get that trade. Seemed like maybe he was just climbing over his friend's dead body to try and get it, and Snake was just sitting there. I mean, he's got a drum mag. He's not going to be on the quick reload, and that's something you got to consider when you're facing against someone with a high magazine, and that was always the issue in fighting someone like Ella, is the high mag means they're not not reloading, which means trades are that much harder to get. So you do have to consider fighting from a different angle. Otherwise, you're just going to get hit from the same shot. So good plays all around, though. But that is Era going up 1 point for the start of us here. We'll see if Dave can use Lion as effectively as Snake did for that 3K. We are seeing a nice buck. We were talking about, Kicks in the chair, we're talking about lack of buck previously, but he's definitely not gone away for Space Station, at least on this attack, because this is one where we typically see him attack from below.
10 seconds left.
The interesting part is that now we see a Blackbeard, which definitely hints at, okay, let's set up the Blackbeard on the ventilation, and that'll be a very standard position to set up.
But again, no Hibana as well, so it's definitely reduced the pick rate of quite a few different operators, just having Lion in the mix. Not that Lion's replacing all of them, but he's changing these team compositions around to force them to play different ways, to play off that utility, or even just to play with a bit more speed.
And that's pretty much it. Chala was explaining, yeah, now it's all about a push, a timed push onto the site. Every second counts. That's why you see everybody moving at specific timings when Lion pops his E1D.
One thing we've heard from a lot of pro teams too is talking about how defense is actually playing a lot more aggressively, despite the inability to roam effectively with Lion in the mix. Teams are just having to play very aggressive defenses, and that might just mean playing a bit more angles or playing some spawn peaks, things like that, trying to get people off the board early to give themselves some kind of advantage once that rush comes down, especially since it's coming down a lot earlier, so that the attack isn't as forced to get the plant down as they would be normally, so they could just be focused on fragging on their entry.
Something that we've been seeing a bit of use of now that you can finally do it, which is the reload cancel. Very much helps you if you want to fight, go for a second fight, even if you go for first reload.
That should be a lot more aggressive for sure.
Yes.
I think that's a big deal. I really like that buff. That was so close. Those metal bars just saved his life for sure. And unfortunately for him, that means Snake is unable to do his job effectively because the batteries are just going to be useless there. Now he's not even able to move. And that is going to be Bandit not able to do anything, but they have not opened the wall yet with it, and Chala getting that kill there. Thermite needs to, there we go, focus on that, as Snake is now going to be stuck in this position. At least he gets the battery off to electrocute him first.
Here we go, they're going to be able to destroy the wall leading into A site. As Chala resets, gets into a pretty sneaky angle around the balcony. Tries to peek through, maybe find a kill early on. The Ashes charge in, thinking nade is very low. Might as well reset at this point. I'm not sure they've had the time really to go for the reset, but Trippin taking half damage here. Redeemer fortunately will take down Bosco. That's 2 down, and Crazy is down to 26 HP on the Legion. Gurmi relocating with the Mira. Not sure if he has a Mira wall to look through from the desk area, but Lion will pop his E1D. And they'll force the defenders to stay around for just a bit. There we go, the mirror window has just been opened. So Redeemer has the advantage here. Sin Chala gets one, C4 is gonna get thrown out, but just before Gurmi picks it. Oh, Crazy, so close as well through the wall. And Trippin just runs in, nails the headshot, and Era Trinity will fall down. Very nicely done by SG here. We've seen 2 different rounds, same spots on the defense, but completely different ways of attacking it.
Yeah, and that's absolutely one of the great parts about Border, is that there's just definitely a lot of different ways to attack both the primary bomb sites that we usually see. That top floor, as I was saying earlier, from the office's archive side or from the locker side, you can attack both ways. You could also, there's different ways of flanking and coming down, for example, that security hallway. So lots of different ways to do it, and as well as ventilation, you can attack from the bathrooms, you can attack from the custom side, you can attack from above. Lots of different ways to do it. So we're seeing a bit of variety, at least, in terms of talking about, maybe the meta just being this way or that way. Teams are still kind of adapting to it, at least on this map. Yep. Maybe not so much on some of the other maps. Kafe might be one that's still going to be a little more static in terms of the kinds of attacks that we see, but defenses still might be a little more varied. But
keep in mind our first round here with Snake Nade, the 3K and Lion. It's very impressive usage of not only his E1D, but also his pure sense of play, because when you play as much as he has and with as many teams as he's played on, you pretty much understand how the game works on a very deep level.
Maybe he's trying to convince them that that Benji doesn't need to come in, that he's fine. I mean, he still could stick around, so it's definitely possible. But his old buddy K9, unfortunately, was one of the players who did leave, so one less buddy here for him to play with.
5 seconds.
But nonetheless, I think some of these pickups were decent. I mean, Crazy can be a little bit off and on, but he can be a strong fragger as well, as we've seen for some teams, depending on how he's playing and who he's playing against when he's on those 3-speed operators. So I don't think that was a terrible pick. But he's playing Thatcher here in this case, which, you can underestimate as a fragger, but we've seen a lot of good fraggers on Thatcher, which is just always an odd thing that you don't necessarily expect. But we're seeing a lot of Zofia play here from a lot of teams as well. which is something that just plays into that aggression, the ability to use that very powerful gun combined with the ability to open up walls and things like that, similar to the way Ash does.
You've got 6 charges, 2 destructibles with the lifeline, and then you have your flashes to go in. You can time them, you can roll them in. There's so many ways to play Zofia on a very technical, high level of technical play. And a big reason of why you would play Ash in her stead is because you're a 3-speed and you have a really good gun. So it's just different ways of playing two operators that are very similar, but once you get down to the technical parts, they are extremely different.
Yeah, and this is, again, we're seeing a lot of these lineups, again, with missing Ash, with missing Hibana. There's definitely a lot of change-ups on these attacks, but Ying seems to be one that they really want to use on Era. That seemed to have worked fairly effectively the first attack. So far, both times, attacks of one we were talking earlier about how it doesn't always go attack-sided. So far on this map, it has always gone attack-sided for at least the first 2 rounds, giving both teams a fair shot at this with 1 point each. But now that that wall's opened, this is where stuff, ooh, look how stacked up they are. The 1 C4 could be all it takes. They've really got to watch their flank in that CCTV. Lion also going to be able to help with that snake. Actually on a far flank here, trying to, it looks like he might be downstairs, trying to make sure that that area is secure, but I'm not sure anyone's roaming down there. A little bit hard to tell, but I would imagine at least one player would consider it at some point, but they seem to all be stacked up upstairs, which I think they're a little concerned about roaming with Lion still in the mix, which is a fair thing to do.
Very much so. Here, Bosco is just going to be checking their behinds there, making sure can't get pushed too easily. And they're going to time these smokes. Flash
Looks
even
like
the
hit him in the back.
There we go. Shala has barely any knowledge of what's going on. You see the smoke popping in, as well as 2 of the 3 candelas being thrown. You see the rush from Mamen. There's a big reason of why you time this with a Lion, because it makes Ying even stronger with that full drum mag that you can just go in and throw down bullets into any of the defenders that dare to move the last second. Now pop it, but the ADS will protect it inside. A Snake gets 1 on Dave, eliminating the one foul, basically, the one player that was running around the map trying to find an entry, but Snake is so low on HP, he has to be very careful. 18 seconds on the clock, and push has to come here. My man rushing all the way in, peeks in, but Chala's ready for him. Gets 1 kill, and he's using the mirror window to his advantage, thinking Nate gets 1, and now they try to rush in with the Thermite, who gets the kill. Gurmy with a double. Can he get the 3rd? No, he cannot, and Trippin' Redeemer will save the round, and Space Station Gaming, with barely any HP left, will pick up their 2nd round on the board.
First defensive round, that means we're going to see Ventilation probably next. I mean, that's not a sure bet, but definitely more likely now to see a different bomb site. I would have to say, I think probably the #1 reason, and it sounds small, that they lost that round was Thermite carrying the diffuser instead of Ying. The reason why you have Ying go in for the plant is it doesn't matter if they're blinded by the smoke. Ying doesn't get blinded by the Candela flashes thrown out, whereas everyone else on the team does. And smoke can still provide a little bit of fragging power from the side and just be able to spray in, even if nothing else. But the Ying ran in looking like he was ready to go for the plant, crouched down even right where he would do the plant, and was like, oh, whoops, I left the briefcase with my buddy Thermite. And so they lost that round. Because they just ultimately stalled out when they had all the actual attack power there. All the smokes were out, all the Candles were out. I don't know if that was just a misplay on their part or just a case where he was hoping to do more. So I don't know what going in and crouching in there was going to do other than if he was going to try and hang out. But
yeah, it was possibly a mistake, possibly because they might have wanted the Ying to rush in and get kills, but because the Lion E1D did not detect anyone, then the Ying was just like, oh, what do I do now? I have no information.
I love seeing this much Legion play. It's nice to see him played a lot more. He's one of those operators, they did buff a little bit when they improved his ability to get some more traps and recharge them faster, so he's a little more effective during setup. As well, we're not seeing him on a ton on roam, though. I mean, obviously, roaming's a lot more risky now, but it's good to see him used for intel so that while the attackers get a lot more intel from flying, defenders are getting some as well.
Honestly, I think that is really the best way to play. We were talking about this literally the instant he came out with a few teams that realized immediately how to play him. Just play around your traps.
Yeah.
That are, you can use them for information, you can use them to protect the sites to anybody that comes in.
Plus Blitz is more of a thing now as well,
Exactly.
not to mention the disabling of Finka, so there's just 2 more reasons to play him.
Legion man represent.
Yeah, right. The fist bump. So it looks like they're going for an offices take here rather than taking on the locker side that we just saw from the last round and some of the other rounds. But this is one that really depends on getting control of offices and then fighting around fountains, which you see Snake and Gurmy there trying to defend. Pretty typical setup where you're going to have Snake playing that bandit to deny the Habanas, but Gurmy getting taken down is going to be a little less effective because now he's got to worry about those grenades himself, and that is going to take out his batteries. He's got to fight people now from the cross as well. Look at him trying to get that angle. The battery's going to make it hard.
Oh, taking a bit of damage there, even on top, but C4 from below, just delaying it just enough for Maman to get in position with the pulse and landing 1 kill, trying to peek on the Habana. Snake Nade knows what's up. He's using the mirror window perfectly to his advantage, but he doesn't have the second wall next to him unreinforced, so he has to play the open angle, and with multiple players waiting up for him, he's going to play it very carefully. They need to put the Thatcher in position here as they have the Habana tripping, moving around, going in for the shot, the drop shot from Snake Nade, using the smoke and the Legion Trap to his advantage. He's detected as well, but they already know he's here. And all he's got to do is to stay alive, and somehow he runs around, and now he can set up for another bandit battery.
Well played by Snake Nade. He is really doing well for this team. He was someone that self-admitted that he wasn't doing that great anymore and kind of wanted to retire a little bit, but he's been performing for Era so far.
So far, so good, and Bosco will land the headshot on Dave. Tries to go in for the rotation, leaves it with Chala, very low on HP on the Thermite, and the Lion with the Redeemer alive. And see the pop in, even no sights on the Vector, easy kill for Crazy. And Chala so low on HP here, barely on 25. Snake Nade might just go for the peek, does a bit more damage, and ends. Chala drops him to the floor. Great defense, and honestly, Snake Nade, he held his spot, but the smoke from behind and the Legion Traps were set up so well for him. The entire setup for the defense was just perfectly executed.
Yeah, it was good teamwork. You were saying earlier that you see a lot of that soft wall, for example, on the other side of the fountains there, so that you're able to shoot through it and play like we typically see with a lot of mirrors. But reinforcing both of them leaves you in a position where you have to fight that one angle, but he played that to his advantage and even managed to cross when they weren't expecting it due to all the smokes and everything. That was great. Seeing our first fuse should be interesting, though, on this particular map, but they know they're going to be attacking probably ventilations, so it does make some sense here. It does look like it's going to be ventilations. That's going to at least probably clear out some utility, help for a push down, especially if you go to clear, for example, before a hatch drop, something like that. We'll see what they're attacking, but they are bringing Thermite, so that leaves the ability to attack the bathrooms, and then the Blitz here should be fun from my man.
I mean, this is the setup that you would typically see. You have Dave that's going to be on the castle, so this makes it a lot more difficult for the attackers to get into the bathroom. That's most likely where you'll see the Echo being set up as well, because it is so difficult to peek through there. Or you can see him playing close up to B, where it's all up to a Buck, for example, that comes in. But here we've got a fuse. Bosco picks this one up. And I think this is even better with this setup because they have Lion Blitz, which is already a very strong combo.
That's going to be able to push quite a bit.
Exactly, and now you have a fuse as well that can pretty much isolate any of the defenders that is standing in the open areas. If you want to contest the Blitz or the Lion, you die. That's pretty much it.
One thing I'll point out as well that I think Echo should see a little more play, I would hope, with Lion in the mix, because he's one of those operators that actually benefits from staying still, because he's able to use his drone and effectively actually be in 2 places at once without moving, because his drone's not going to get revealed by Lion. So him and Vigil are both ones that benefit from being able to stand still and disrupt what the enemy's doing. So I would hope to see them a bit more, but we haven't really been seeing much Vigil from these guys. At least the first Echo here from Redeemer. Redeemer, though, I would say probably one of the best Echoes, if not the best Echo in North America easily, just because we have seen him play so fantastically on it in the past. I can't imagine he's lost his touch with it. You see his drone jumping to the ceiling just a second ago there. But this fuse needs to get in a lot further if he wants to be effective.
And needs to stay alive, that's for sure. Taking control. We often talk about this, and we talked about it a lot at Six Invitational. An important part of taking any workshop or any position that is on the ground floor is to take the upper floor. The first floor is the important part because more often than not, it's a soft floorboard. You can use it to your advantage. You can shoot your opponents with a Buck, and in this case, you can use a fuse to push them away.
Yeah, this is a very destructible map compared to some of the other ones, even though it doesn't always look like it, because some of the floor doesn't necessarily reveal itself to be so, but there's this Lion coming out. That's going to help this Blitz push in through that smoke, because he's going to see that Dave behind that half wall, know exactly what he needs to do and exactly when he'll stand up.
There we go. They might even use the murder holes from below to some advantage, but my man will find himself very much stuck inside. Crazy will get one, and that's Dave out on the floor. Nicely done. Bosco just pushing in from behind. They push the Mira. Unfortunately, can't get the kill. Now cannot get back The C4 is right in front of them.
Just blow it.
Oh my god, I believe
Oh,
that
he might
was
have
Dave's
died, yeah.
C4, yeah.
Unfortunate.
Wasn't able to use it, and now we see Bosco sending up.
Here we go, the timing.
There you go, hurrah. Let's see if he can play this to his advantage. Yes, he can. Trippin is going to fall to the floor, and it's right next to Snake Nade, but Bosco's ready for him. Takes him down. My man still on 50 HP with the Blitz. He's going to now move in, pop it, thinking Nade's ready for him. Immediate shutdown with the SMG-11. Now he's got one more to his advantage. We'll see how this 2v4 plays out for the defenses. Gurmy setting up in a close angle, looking into A, thinking Nade a very single as well as he moves around, gets the info, goes in for the spray, and takes down Gurmy. That's him down on the floor. Thinking Nade is all on his own. He's got the diffuser right next to him. Now all he's got to do is play for time. 10 seconds left. Jumps in, but Crazy's ready for him. Not too sure about the final aggression there. Almost was able to get it. Ira will pick up the round.
I don't know if the blitz play was as effective as I would have liked. He got downed twice pretty easily, but nonetheless, it put a lot of aggression on him. You saw that pinch upstairs on the lockers was very well executed in terms of making sure that they could not get away from the aggression that was coming. And then, of course, the classic, or the will-be classic fuse plus lion play, where you set up the fuse, and then, of course, the first thing they want to do is run away, pop that lion, and now all of a sudden, if they run away, now they can get floor banged the moment they start moving, because you know exactly where they're at. And the only hope you have is that they hit steel beams, try and hit you in the head. So, I mean, we're not going to see that a lot probably in Pro League, but it is one that is definitely going to be seeing a lot of play in Ranked if it isn't already.
I would expect this to happen on maps and be like Clubhouse, for example.
Yeah.
That can definitely be abused. You know, this is when the theory crafting comes in and you're like, oh, darn, we can actually see this.
Yeah.
You know, it's very interesting to see how the meta evolves, especially on day one here.
So far, Era looking like they're pretty strong on this map. I mean, it's gone a bit back and forth. They are only up 1 point, but look at Snake Nade there with a good 7. And we saw one from the Space Station as well with 6. So it's not like they aren't playing competitively here, but I do feel like Era seem to be a little bit stronger on what they're doing on this particular map. But it has got a lot of attacker wins, however, some good defenses nonetheless. This is an interesting setup you definitely don't see often here. I mean, not only are they playing ventilation from a different spot here in terms of defending it from the, what would you call that area? It's sort of adjunct customs.
Looking into the hallway, the main hallway.
Interesting spot for that, especially on a completely soft wall. Now, playing a completely soft wall with a mirror is actually very risky with Lion in the mix, because it's a situation where now you can be spotted hanging out just below the mirror and then just easily wall banged through that. So you've got to be extra careful in how you play that.
You see Snake Nade has taken control of armory lockers, and he's going to just sit up there and try to delay as long as he can. Maybe if he takes down Thinking Nade, I think definitely would be a victory for him.
It looks like they're going for a bathroom push. They have people attacking upstairs, but you saw Chala droning downstairs in the teller's area, and he's the one carrying the diffuser and the one with the ability to open the wall. So I do think they're going to go for that if they can get enough top-down control, which they seem to be getting fairly uncontested for the most part, but they obviously have to take the locker side as well. And there's the first kill on Thinking.
Yep, C4 will miss, but Gurmy will get the kill on Thinking Nade. As you said, Buck has now been eliminated, and look at the setup completely in the main lobby.
I like that long angle they're playing. They opened up all that other wall to be able to face into that big lobby, and that's actually pretty effective. I got to give Gurmy credit for that setup there. That's assuming they don't lose the hatch above, of course, from CCTV.
Definitely can turn sour very quickly. Chala will come in and open up the sidewall here as Redeemer is still set up on the stairs. Might want to rotate at some point. You see the hatches not been reinforced. They can definitely use these at some point if they'd like to turn around. I would not peek this if I were the Mira, that's
Again,
for
he
sure.
hasn't used any, so this is risky for him as well. I like how he brought the revolver as his sidearm as well. Good choice.
Influenced by most recent highlights, that's for sure. So, Dave just sitting up behind the reinforced wall, using it to his advantage as well. Can't get shot for that, at least. And he'll be popping his first E1D. Very low on HP here. Chala has to fall back, and very good from the defense as none of them are moving. They are not being pressured, so there is no reason to move, and that's why we saw before the use of the fuse. Bosco takes a bit of damage here as he peeks in, gets at least a spot on Redeemer. He's going to get taken down. Gurmy with the push. Chala on Redeemer will fall down, but Snake Nade will get one more. Try to go in, but a beautifully reinforced wall going in, and man, what is that? Going in, headshot right onto Dave and Era Eternity. They are a round away from taking this one. I love the aggressive play on the pulse. Of course, instead of going for a normal grip, you go for an angle grip that gives you a much faster ADS time because the UMP has pretty abysmal ADS time in comparison of how you would like to use a pulse or a castle
especially
in that position.
No, it does seem like a smart choice. I think one of the things to note as well, besides the fact that it's now match point for Era, is that with the, as you saw it there with the pulse, you have to be even more conscious of where you put your reinforcements now because of the line in play means you have to know where you're covered. So in that situation, obviously, had there not been a reinforced wall there, easy wall bang onto that pulse, who is the other operator with wall hacks. So it's a situation where if you know what your positioning is, you know how you can play with those reinforced walls, you don't necessarily have to sit still. I mean, obviously you give away your position and your movement still, but you're at less risk of being wall banged if you know how to play that smart. However, I do think they pretty much lost that round due to lack of good coverage from upstairs, inability to attack from above.
They had full control of the top stair, or the top floor, and then did not use it for anything.
I mean, as you said, they didn't need a fuse, though. I mean, but they just doing something from above. I mean, obviously it hurts that they lost the buck early on thinking nade, and that obviously cost them a little bit, because not just opening up the floor in terms of getting shots, but also getting grenades down to be able to kind of clear them out of positions for that attack. Plus, they were all stacked up, giving an easy 2K to Gurmy once they started falling. But our first Glaz, I think, of the day should be interesting combo here. I think it's... No, but I mean, you combine that with the old wall hacks there, and you might have a nice long angle, easy kill right onto the head. I mean, that's up to you to use that. Again, just what I was talking about being conscious of reinforcements matters that much more when Glaz is in play, because there are a lot of destructible walls on this map that they could potentially penetrate through. The upside, at least, is his rifle's slightly weaker when going through walls as opposed to just going straight onto your face, but nonetheless, still going to be very effective.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Bosco just taking control of the east stairs, and so far pretty standard from Era. They maneuver around, they drone in and see what's our best angle of attack here.
Yeah, yet another officer's take from the looks of it here. Yeah. Although it depends on where Gurmy goes really, because he's going to be the one on Thermite going for the plant at some point.
It's finally Habana that's actually being used here.
Yeah, this is the second time we've seen this. Like that's it. Like that's such. I mean, that was an 80+% pick rate.
She was picked pretty much every single round.
Definitely a lack of hard breaches, but we are seeing a lot more Thermite, I have to say. I mean, they could be map specific, however, though. But we did see Bank last, so of course we saw quite a bit of Thermite for that as well.
Yeah, it's very different than the usual, where now we see both hard breachers that are being used. Bosco will just drone in on the Zofia, and he won't spot anything standing in
Those
front
where
of
those batteries are, but no Thatcher to do anything about them. However, you can huck things over that wall. They could take advantage of that, but at least using that to clear the barbed wire is going to help. Again, not bringing Ash to be able to do that, just getting extra utility out of Zofia's gun to be able to actually take that out without using up half of your utility right there.
And even with the flashes, as you said, you know, you can just lob them over the wall.
Well, they're great for roam clear as well.
And there we go. Why do you need a Thatcher if all you can do is just run in and shoot the batteries?
So far, good play by Bosco getting this good. So far, they haven't taken any damage really on either side. With a minute left, this is probably one of the longest rounds without any damage we've seen of the night at this point, with Line still in the mix. Still 100% pick rate. But this is the start of the season. It just came out. Snake, though, doesn't need Line's ability.
Oh my God.
Sees him right through the mesh. And poor Dave, not going to be throwing out any more cal drops for their feet.
That is a
hopefully left a good legacy.
That is a fantastic shot from Snake. So far doing so well. He's going to get shot from the side. Nicely done from a Reamer. And it seems like even the E1D will not be enough to save the day.
You can't watch all 360 degrees when you activate it.
That's pretty much it. My man will get the kill. Gurmy low on HP from the smoke has been thrown. Mira down, and the Legion up from before. And that's no more C4 to be played. And the last smoke, I believe, will just be used as... Now my man is peeking in, looking for maybe an aggressive play. There we go. Final smoke with Chala from below. Gets the kill. That's the C4 out. We'll get at least one advantage. Bandit with C4. Who would have thought? It's a new era here as Bosco looking down.
I bet they wish they still had Snake alive for this post plant.
Yeah, that's pretty much another power of Lion, not only when you push onto the site, but Cholo 2 kills in a row, and Space Station so close to this. Cholo will land the last one, and will clutch the round with a 3K at the end. Even with the diffuser planted, it was not enough, and they relied so much on the Lion that it's just, doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm Chala. I'll come in.
I'm Chala.
I'm
Here I
Chala. I'll
am.
get the 3K and we'll defuse it. Easy peasy, no problem.
Yeah, that was a great clutch by him because obviously had they lost that round, they would have been out of this map and on to Oregon. So great save by him. And they are still in this for at least this round, but it could be over or it could be overtime if they're able to win this round. Space Station, I think, were probably actually the favorite coming into this, so it's surprising to see such a strong lead from Era, but it's only 1 point lead now that they've kind of closed that gap a little bit. See some strong play from Snake and Gurmy and Bosco as well. Gurmy hadn't been doing a lot of fragging previously. He'd usually been down to people like my man and Crazy, so it's nice to see him and Bosco getting some nice kills in there. Thinking Nade, despite us seeing him get killed quite a lot as Buck early, he's still got a good 6 frags in there, doing some good work for his team as well. We're going to see a lot more of that Legion, which is always nice on here, and pretty much the same comps we've seen most of the time. Redeemer going to be on that Blackbeard again, which I think he was somewhat effective on previously. Snake going to be playing that wall with the mirror like we saw before as well.
A thing again is we don't have a Thatcher.
No, they're just, I mean, we saw a little bit of Thatcher, but not too much. It looks like actually Snake's going to play the AWOL first, maybe be able to rotate in case they're going to push the other side. But I like the flexibility of his ability to rotate around if he needs to, pick up the batteries. He's got 4, and you only really need to juggle 1 on the other side, but I like the man pulse downstairs. It's always one that's fun to try and counter. They know Thinking Nade's going to be playing that Buck, so playing the ability to counter him I think is important there because that saves Snake Nade the ability to actually guard that wall. You saw last time when he got hit from below, it made his ability to guard the wall pretty much ineffective, and then they were able to open it on him. Although I think that was the one they might have failed with the Ying push on, but we'll see.
Well, remember, this is, as you said, possibly a match point, possibly overtime. It's all up to how Space Station play this one out. And of course, Redeemer here setting up a very long angle. This is almost impossible for a defender to really contest, especially when you're out on the balcony, and this angle right through the mesh can definitely play to the advantage of the attackers. Dave can set up later. You can have the Blackbeard there. The Blackbeard can still rotate around and set up on the ventilations. There's so much that can be done, and my man is just scanning around, making sure it might just be a possibility for him to use the C4 here. Dave will get 1 kill. That's Snake Nade out of play. Now they try to find the pulse inside. Trippin knows what's going on. He's got to find him, and he's set up in the workshop.
Oh, just barely misses
my
him.
God.
There we go. Could even get him through the drone hole potentially, but nope, not gonna. He's gonna have to fight the wall.
Charge is gonna get used. The Ash is gonna get spotted, and my man going in for the fight. And remember, all of these walls are soft, and might just be able to find him here as my man has to go down on the floor. They are hunting him, and finally will go down. Nicely down by Trippin there.
Good use of the line ability, pinching him in that situation where he couldn't move safely, so that really cost him his life.
3 off the board for the defense. Bosco and Crazy last 2 alive, and this is looking like very much a possible
Probably
overtime.
overtime, yeah, at this point. I like Crazy setting that up in that pinch spot there. Maybe even 2 of them, maybe 1 on the body, so that if they try and push him, they're going to get slowed down or at least hurt. That flick by Bosco.
Bosco, what a shot. Peeks up, gets the headshot on Chala, and there starts the work. Possibly the comeback in this round, as our E1D is going to get used. Now the Goo Mine, 1 more still in play. Goes in the double kill from Crazy somehow. He picks up the double. Now goes in for the revive on Bosco. A very cheeky angle there. Might have been shot from the side, but they will both stay alive. There's, I believe, grenades still on Thinking Nade. No, there are none. Okay, so now it's all up to the push here from Redeemer as he gets 1. Crazy with the spray. Now it's all up to the 1v1. Can this go into overtime? Thinking Nade goes in for the plant. It's Crazy, goes in for the quick rush and cleans it up. Era Eternity. What a defense, stalwart defense. 2v5, and they turn it back. 1v2 to finish it up. What a play.
Crazy and Bosco absolutely just dominating that round. You saw Bosco pinched behind the bomb with Lion's ability completely detecting him. They knew where he was at every second, and he played into that. He knew they were going to push him, popped up and just tapped both their faces, and that was the end of them. And then, of course, the cleanup by Crazy. Just well executed 5-3 by Era. Some close rounds there, but overall, I feel like that was Era's map by far. And then, interestingly, going into Oregon, Oregon being, I think, the only map that Era even won during Invitationals. So that could be a strong map for them as well. SSG, hopefully, we're studying that match against Ainz and preparing for this because they're not on a good place right now in terms of this best of 3.
I mean, they definitely had the advantage, especially in that final round. But how do you turn a 5v2 into a 1v1 win.
You get 2Ks. That's how you do it.
You play the close angles, and even in a position where you still have the shield in front of you, all you do is just look for the headshots, and somehow, well, it works out. I guess the T5 is just that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a situation where, again, like I think he really played, Bosco especially played against the fact that they were pushing him with the line because he knew he was detected, because they knew exactly where he was at, because he was behind the bomb in a situation where they had to be thinking, if we just push him right now, we know exactly where he's at, exactly where he's moving, and there's only one angle we can hit him from, but then he can't hit us back either. So I think their thought process was, well, we have to just get around this. Him playing into that, knowing they've got to come around on me because I'm in this tight spot where they can't hit me, but they're going to want to hit me because they can see me. I mean, that came down to timing. They could have pre-fired that, and that probably would have saved their life had they been pre-firing, and that probably would have been the smart play. Hindsight, obviously, 2020. But just well played by Bosco, reading into that and saying, you know what? I'm cornered. They know where I'm at. Let's just play into that, jump up, and just spray the faces.
Let's play the 1v1 or the 2v1 game.
Yeah, and then some good plays by Crazy as well to try and save that. Obviously, unfortunate for Thinking Nade in a situation where he kind of had to plant. And that really, obviously, is why he didn't win that 1v1, is that he was kind of busy on his laptop. So a situation where not much you can do right there. And obviously, Crazy, you saw him a little cautious to push onto that because he didn't want to get taken by the bait. So he was just like, I'll push, but then I'm going to kind of wait till it's too late for him to be faking it.
But that's the thing, because it already had the desk wall that was open. So he could have peeked through the desk area, had the advantage looking right into the locker. Again, as you said, hindsight is always 2020. When you're in these close-up final moments of a round, literally anything can happen, and that's exactly what happened here. It forced the attackers to rush. Sure, you have Lion, sure, you have everything going your way, but hey, you mess up for 1 second and your round's done. That is 100% the beauty of playing Siege,
especially
because you
now,
never know how it'll go.
Mess up for 1 second, and that could be the 1 second now you're marked for a good 4 seconds.
Yeah,
so.
And we saw that when we were talking to T'Challa. He explained how important it is to time everything to push onto a site.
Yeah.
If you don't time it correctly, having Lion, having whatever you want on the team is just not enough.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting going to Oregon here to kind of compare and contrast what we saw earlier in the previous match with EG versus Ronin, because we did see Oregon then. And of course, this is the start of a season where the meta is completely different. The new operator's having a huge impact. And so to have those early contrasts, I think will bode well going into next week as well, to see what they're going to adapt and do on it. And this is the first play day for all of the regions, so it should be interesting to say the least. We are seeing, again, a Jackal, something we didn't see really on Border, but I think just the ability to roam clear on this map is that much more important perhaps than Border, because Border we tend to see only maybe 1 or 2 roamers at most, and those are generally bottom floor, where you don't always have to pay attention to them unless it's, say, the Pulse. But on this map in particular, you really need good roamer control and the ability to clear out the map fast and section off things like the west wing and take control, because you could cut it off pretty much from the side. Assuming they don't have a rotate from pantry, if you could take the west side all the way up to kitchen door, you can pretty much seal that off and they can't really come up on you. And so being able to do that very quickly, as we saw earlier in the Ronin match versus EG, is very advantageous in this, not to mention being able to clear the top floor a lot quicker as well. And then you're just ending up fighting basement at that point. And then you have the ability to be able to do some good pinches. We did see a lot of dorms play last time, maybe not as much play downstairs, but they are going to be starting with that on defense from Era. Bringing Castle, of all things, interesting, which is usually used for, as I'm sure he's going to be used up here, for a meeting hall defense. You're not going to use him much downstairs. We used to see, maybe going back to like year 1, sometimes he'd be used for the backside tower defense. But that's something we just haven't seen in a long time.
This is very sweet. Both castle walls will be used up here. Curious to see where the last one will be set up.
Sometimes it's on that back door, but yeah, it's definitely kind of a...
I mean, you have the hatch to rotate through, so it's definitely possible. But
yeah, you need the ability. That's why he's useful with the impact as well, because you need the ability to have an exit somewhere.
We've seen the importance of maybe having a shield as well in this sort of push with Lion, with Jackal. We've seen this with BR6. Here we go.
Wow.
Kill number 1, Redeemer.
Back on that Blackbeard. He's doing well with that Blackbeard.
It doesn't matter if you reinforce everything. All you need to do is just have this tiny wall. This is why you usually castle reinforce the back, because
going off of that angle.
Yep, that is pretty much the angle you want to avoid. Nicely done by Snake Nade. Gets 1 kill, and that pretty much ties it up. The Ash being exchanged there for the Bandit on defense.
Still got Dave on the line here. Has used 1 of his charges of the E1D. Still has at least 1 more to help with this roam clear if it gets stalled out. But Snake Nade playing a pretty static position, probably not going to be giving away too much. Same with my man, so I'm not sure it's going to have a lot of use, but he peeks around anyways.
Oh, nicely done by Redeemer, playing with the DMR so well. My man taking so much damage. How is he even alive at this point? He's going to get spotted as Dave pushes in here and takes control of the meeting hall, but my man is going to scurry away, take down the drone, and might even have time to reset if need be.
Yeah, if he gets on site, he also has the extra panel he can put up if he wants to try and cut off the rotation, perhaps from the backside, as I was talking about earlier, being an old meta. I mean, he could use that. We have seen, like, for example, late mirrors and things like that. Could be useful if he even thinks about doing it, but he might be too focused on living. I like the good use of the Jackal shotgun, something I still think could sometimes, you know, replace Buck. There's that reset we were talking about. Good use of the extra time that they have here, this extra minute.
There we go.
Angles.
Bit of an angle being used up here. Smoke is going to get thrown as both sides will set up their own smokes. And Chala won't get hit. He survives at the end of this one as C4 is set up by Gurmy. E1D will get used up here as more smokes are being thrown. 42 seconds on the clock. Chala goes in and C4 will get thrown.
Oh.
Easy kill from Gurmy. 2 versus 3 as now Dave has no longer any E1Ds to play with. Bosco gets one more, and his last onto Thinking Nade. He jumps in, he gets one frag, but he peeks in for the second, and 7 bullets left in the C7. E goes in for the 1v1 fight, and Bosco peeks in with a shotgun, cleans him up. Well done by Era in the first round.
So far, coming off the strength of that last map, playing this defense pretty well. They did a great job holding that meeting hall upstairs for quite a while, especially my man getting away with that castle, being able to go all the way downstairs despite the line taking control of that meeting hall. Not being able to finish the job kind of cost him in the end there, put a little bit of desperation towards that. I do think they almost got that plant down, but the good C4 really is what cost that attack at the end. I mean, obviously the loss of manpower doesn't help as well, but losing that plant, when he had a pretty good idea, I mean, he was trying to plant it as quick as possible with that EE1D being triggered to stop them from being able to counter, but they didn't have a glass or anything that was going to have some kind of easy shot onto them if they went for the peak of the move.
And also, they forced 2 E1Ds, or 2 charges to already be used upstairs.
Trying to help clear, yeah,
to help clear the meeting hall. And on top of that, this is why you would have usually a Capitao and a Habana to come in, because it's easier to take down the hatch, and also you can get just a clear shot with the crossbow bolts and push away anybody that is near the window. But
yeah, definitely useful, especially when Jaeger's still in play. Interesting, though, we're going to see our first mute. We'll see how well that takes effect here. I mean, it's something we used to see sometimes with people trying to jam the hatches. You can jam that one a little bit in the lobby area. This is going to be used to help with the meeting hall defense from the start of it. It looks like he could be able to make sure that they're not able to get in from a lot of the walls, or it also could be used to deny upstairs here, something we usually see a lot of bandits doing. Obviously, Bandit can be a little better in the sense that he can kill the charges that are put on it, but nonetheless, it's still going to also stop any kind of drones that get too close. So we'll
this
see if it pays off.
This is the kind of setup that I've been wanting to see. The Ying Blitz Lion. We've seen this a lot with BR6.
I think we saw a different player on Blitz last time too, and Snake's going to be the one picking it up this time.
Very good point.
And usually he was the one online, but they're actually switching it up with Crazy, so they're definitely making some changes in terms of who's playing what on this attack.
You see everything has been opened in the meeting hall, and they're going to focus on that meeting hall before dropping down through the hatch. So it's a super important position for them to be defending. That's why you see the reinforced walls setting up in this way. Not sure where the Miro wall, at least the second one, has been used up, but you see everybody from Era setting up
that
all
mute jammer saving their life right now, because without that mute jammer, that wall would be opened by the Habana. I mean, obviously no thermite to do it, but that would be plenty enough. Snake actually going to have to do this peeking now to give his team some kind of intel as the drones go in. Unfortunately, taking a little bit of damage to his pinky finger there. It's going to hurt. Still has 2 smokes to be able to help with this, but he's just really keeping them busy while my man's rotating around at this point.
He tries to go in, he spots the Mira, and that's the E1D. That's what they want to try and rush in. Unfortunately for him, there's so many angles to watch for. There we go, that's all he wants to do. Take down the mute jammer. He gets so much damage done onto him, thanks to the C4 being thrown out. But that's some utility now that has been expended from defense and attack. And fire might just rain through the open wall here. Snake Nade peeking in, doesn't find anybody. There is a close angle, but he's still held up by the mute.
I like how he's protecting his hand with the wall as much as possible too.
Yep. Man setting up in garage might just find this rotation here, and here we go. It's a bit of damage, but Dave will go down. That's no more castle. And that's the first frag. E1D will get used, And they'll spot Chala as he rotates down back onto the site, and look at the amount of time that has been lost.
Yeah, they do have full control, but only taking out Dave in the process is definitely going to hurt them, not to mention Snake being so low on health now, and not any time really to go for a reset on him. At best, he's going to be able to use it as a little bit of face check down there first as you hear him stomping around, but it's definitely going to cost Era a lot of momentum on this attack.
Yeah, well, thinking Nade rotating down here might be able to catch somebody in the lobby. He's got Redeemer as well to help him out, but everybody from the attack has rotated through construction. Now are setting up to push through B. Smoke will just dissipate here as Bosco throws in the grenade, and that's the last one he had. Unfortunately, did not spot the Jaeger ADS that's been set up right below. E1D will be popped, but C4 from Thinking Nade eliminates one. Drippin with a full frag on Bosco. Gurmi will get one on Chala, turning it into a 3v3. 1 second on the clock, and there has been no plant just yet. There we go. Trippin goes in for the final kill, and Gurmi will get dropped. No diffuser plant. And that is the end of the round. Very well done here in round number 2. On the defense, it's been very, very hectic, but we see Spacestation Gaming picking up their first round. I love the way that they held that meeting.
Yeah, and that was really what cost, really, the attack, because just with such little time left, you saw the desperation trying to get that, and of course, that ADS did some good work as well, because that grenade was actually cooked nicely to get over there and do some damage once it got out of the other side of that shelf, but the ADS stopping it kind of also put a big dent in that push. The smoke was also doing a good job delaying stuff, and then Thinking Nade getting back around on that rotate. Just a lot of things really worked out in their favor after a really good defense in terms of the meeting hall you're talking about. I do like that they were able to, at least they had the utility of the blitz to be able to get that mute jammer, but it cost them so much to do it just to get that meeting hall open. It took so long, playing so many people, so many different angles in that meeting hall, that the Lion Charge didn't even really do anything for them because they didn't need to move with so much coverage. So, but that being 2 defensive wins means we're going to see upstairs twice in a row. Dorms to start out with here for Era, then it's going to be Space Station upstairs unless they want to be really crazy and pull off a kitchen or tower, which not likely, let's be honest, especially in the current meta. Kitchen would probably be suicide. Same with tower, but they're going to be playing a little bit flexible here in terms of having some people in meeting hall still. Snake ain't going to be in there. My man going to be on the pulse. Going to be able to provide some good intel on the approach here, hanging out in this hall. It's a little bit risky to hang out. It looks like he's not sure which way he wants to rotate yet as they're trying to figure out. There's a nice bathroom defense. We saw, for example, KS has done a lot of from that bathroom in terms of holding out the kitchen very well from there, unless they know how to clear it. However, now with Lion in the mix, as well as the ability to do stuff like Ying, which they're not bringing right now, but it makes it a little bit easier to clear that out. Say, Thinking Nade goes in there with a grenade combined with a Lion Charge. It's going to be kind of hard to get away from that outside of vaulting over the mirror window, hoping you can clear kitchen without getting shot from a flank. We'll see. They are getting master bedroom open early, though. This is not good for the defense.
Yeah, they just come in and use all Cairo shots here to open up the sidewall to master bedroom. And Chala just running around here on the Habana, spots the one player that's set up on B. So far, so standard. He tries to get a bit aggressive, but there's one player set up on the white stairs. He now pulls up the second drone. ADSs will be burned from below. Well done here.
It's a little risky, Chala, pushing those aggressively, though, because he's the one carrying the diffuser, which is good for the plant, but if he gets taken down early, that's going to leave the diffuser in a bad spot, and Smoke's making sure that might happen.
But they pop 2 smoke at 136.
Absolutely good point. I think that Bosco is going to be in a tough spot to try and delay this any longer, thanks to Chala getting in so easily into master bedroom with no contest.
Go. Last remote gas nade might get used here. As Bosco looking through for any rotation in the attic. Chala sets up again, and they're burning quite a bit of time, and there we go. That is the last smoke. That is pretty much the last thing that can stop them.
Dave has yet to use any of these EED or EE1Ds as well. Ooh. Oh, Snake, though, doing some good work on the Valkyrie, but look, the Claymore by the Lion, saving him on my man. That's a nice kill trade there onto the Pulse, who thought he was being tricky.
This is now perfect for him, and Chala spots one, and the kill from Dave as well. Bosco and Crazy will go down. Gurmi and Snake are alive, and there's at least one C4 being played here. Snake Nade will get one, but it'll turn it into a 3 versus 1. That's the only C4 that was available right before his Miro teammate fell down, and Chala will get the last kill. Chala playing very, very well today, that is for sure. And Spacestation Gaming take their second round. They didn't even need to push the sites. They just picked them off one by one.
Yeah, like not contesting that push from the master bedroom into that closet towards the double bunks was really, I'd say, I mean, not directly what cost them that round, but it really gave a big momentum advantage early in the round to the attackers. And then they hadn't even used any of the Legion charges yet. They still are not Legion, but Lion charges yet. So it was just a situation where they had a lot of utility. And then obviously that Claymore kill helped from Dave as well onto the Pulse. But they just weren't able to get much going. And then they were just able to hold the angles from what they opened, even like you said, they didn't have to go for the plant, but having that angle really helped them stop them from being able to rotate from one side of the top floor to the other towards the armory side, and that alone was a big problem for them, is it completely pigeonholed them into attacks from the window. So we'll see if Era can bring it back. I mean, they had a good start, but so far, Space Station have been able to get a 1-point advantage. It has been going back and forth, though, so it could easily go the other way. But a situation where I think that was 2 rounds in a row from Space Station, because Era started it off, I believe, with the first win. So now the momentum is on the side of Space Station. Era going to have to change that up. But we have seen so far all defensive wins. So if that does go as planned here, well, not all defensive wins. That was an attack win, sorry, to break it up. So that, I think, bodes well for Space Station, you know, having actually won that. Now that we could see, though, if this is this has been a good bomb site for a lot of teams, I think. And if they were stronger, if they're stronger on this one than they were on the bottom floor, which we have seen from a lot of teams, I think this could easily go over to SSG for 3-1 and potentially bring this towards map 3.
Definitely possible, actually. I would not rule it out. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a good one to go for, that's for sure.
The old Claymore spot. I love that one because it's one of those ones that just catches you right in the face as you come out the door. He is still concerned about the attic window. They need to clear it, and you see Habana going up from Gurmy, trying to help open up that attic so Snake can stop watching it.
And even Trippin is set up in the dining hall, which is very odd. He does have a mirror window to protect him as he opens up the boards that were just blocking off the entryway. Just, you know, maybe trying to tell his opponents on the attack, hey, come on in. Let's have a shootout.
Well, this is where the old angles onto this window here are going to make it hard for Redeemer to stay in the spot. But he has that shotgun, and we know how effective that can be if they can't clear him out. They need to clear those ADSs because Bosco's got the grenades, but he can't necessarily do anything with them. However, Snake can help clear those ADSs as well with his gun from that lifeline. So between the two of them, hopefully they can clear out the smoke. But he actually is pushed away, almost gives Snake the angle, and now they have a little more control over that particular bomb site. But there is a second one in there behind the bomb that I'm not sure if they're aware of that or not.
Now Bosco just setting up, for now, Redeemer in the site here on door main hall. And at least he's got a reinforced wall. He's got the bedding as well to protect him. And the second frag nade will get set up. Throws it right in the back and gets the shot. Nicely done. Bosco gets the kill on a thinking nade out of everybody with a grenade.
Yeah, there's 2 nades, one on either team, too. We've got Snake nade and thinking nade. And there's the nade coming on Dave. Poor Dave, he is gone. Now it is 2 defenders down. As I said, a 3rd defender down from my man. It is 5v2 right now. Not looking good.
Quick spray in as our Lion will fall right before he triggers his E1D. My man comes in, and there is the reinforced wall right next to him. C4 from below. Chala saving this the last second, and now the diffuser's on the floor. Redeemer with no more smokes to play with, but Chala from below will get the kill. Gurmy with 1 more on Redeemer, turning it into a 1 versus 2. Gurmy and Snake Nade. Still alive. Gurmy taking a lot of damage, and the diffuser will get picked up. So go in for the plant. Gurmy going for a quick peek as he takes down the ADS.
He's all done timing.
Very close, but Gurmy's ready for him with the bearing 9. And your mustache cannot save you here, Mr. Pulse. As Gurmy gets the kill, and Era puts the round on the board.
So far, again, trading him back and forth. Era now at 2. So I still think there's a good chance we could see overtime and potentially a map 3 here. Both teams seem to be fairly close in skill. I mean, Era did win with 2 points last map, but it was close. I think it could have gone to potential overtime. So I would say that this is looking like overtime on this map, if nothing else. No one necessarily being particularly overpowered. We've actually seen more defensive wins than attack wins a lot of the time, but in this case now it is evened out as both teams have 1 defense, both teams have 1 attack, showing that the top floor is weaker for both of these teams. So they've got to work on their dorms play, but they can go back downstairs. If they win them again, obviously they have to focus on, okay, what did we do that cost us our dorm site last time, since both teams could not defend it. Gurmy, Snake, Chala all doing some great work, some great play from Aurora. The rest of them's crazy, unfortunately, with the donut. Not what I expected to see from him.
Not
but
too crazy.
He is the last addition to this team, though. He is the newest one, so it is a situation where, you know, he might not have found his groove with them just yet. We'll see. He is on a 3-speed operator, something I think is a little bit stronger for him from what I've seen from him in the past.
And Ella finally picked up here. This is the first time in our second matchup.
One of the lower pick rates now. All of a sudden, I think those nerfs were effective.
It was at 80%. What was it? So developers, when we were at Six Invitational, they showed it at a panel where around 80% of every single defense round had an Ella that was played on it. And now it's like just completely different.
Some of that is due to the addition of line as well, though, because now you cannot be that super flexible roamer you used to be. So, but you know, nonetheless, metas change, metas shift, and this is going to be an interesting season to say the least.
Ella meta is dead.
Yeah. So, well, we have a new one in its place, but I do like the addition of a lot more Jackal play. I think he's a good operator, and the use of his utility shotgun, I think, has been interesting from when we're so used to like buck play.
Oh my God, that is the angle. That was a great angle here. And you see the Ella has already been spotted, and she gonna get tagged here.
The game is afoot.
Yeah. You see, forcing probably the Ella to retreat back onto the site or set up very, very close to her teammates. And that's exactly what's happening here with Snake Nade and my man setting up at close angles together in the meeting hall. And that's pretty much what Ella has turned into.
Oh, this is unfortunate. The angle.
Able to take it out. Last second, Drone's going to get spotted. And Chala is trying to force his opponents and maybe retaliating against him. Flash going to get thrown in, but he will pop the Ella mine. Has to fall back at the last second.
Good job for my man defending this here. This is really slowing them down. The meeting hall control slowdowns have really hurt teams on these attacks.
Flash will get thrown in, and that will force the Ella out of position. You see the E1D will get used, and the Legion will get taken down. My man going down as well. Nice and down from SSG. And that's both players, and now the Bandit down on the floor thanks to the C7E.
It's all down to the site play now. Can they do against 5, though? This is not a good position to be in. Yeah, they have the C4s and the smokes, but you're going to have to hope they stack up, especially with the Blackbeard in play and Lion charges still left on the board.
Has Bosco used any of his smoke charges just yet? I don't think so.
I hope not.
Nope,
no,
there you go.
Thank God.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. He's going to need them, definitely, in this situation. There is 46 seconds left, which is a lot of time for this attack, potentially, as long as they can put enough pressure on. Chala actually just drops down Hatch.
The MP is going to get dropped, but Gurmy's ready for him. He's going to get the kill with the C4. That's pretty much the only C4 they had. E1D's been used.
That leaves the diffuser in the middle of the room.
Oh, Thinking Nate comes in for it, and Trippin is ready from top. Redeemer gets the last one. That's pretty much the only thing they had. It was the C4 and the smokes that were set all the way in the back to protect any pushes. But then again, when you have the Blackbeard just eyeballing it directly into the one hallway you can peek through, there's not much that you can do as a defender.
Yeah, that's the problem with that. Once you have those angles locked down, they really need to throw those C4s and smokes really well to stop you. But that's Space Station breaking the mold again. They have won the first attack round downstairs, so now they are again at the advantage. This is a case where Air is going to have to come back and do the same thing, or we could see this go into map 3 with a potential 5-3-5-2 kind of situation like we just saw last map. So they are going to bring out the Glaz on this attack for the basement, so they're probably going to go for a little bit of a smoke strat. I assume they're going to be playing from the stairs like Blackbeard just was because, well, it doesn't make as much sense playing from the back. Not that some teams don't do it. We used to see occasionally some Blackbeards playing from the back in terms of him attacking from the back wall. But it's a situation where it just is not super effective for the Glaz as well. So we'll see how they play it, though. But they do have that Thatcher that was also useful for the last time. Especially with this Mute in the mix here, that'll be that much more effective. Because if they need to get some of those annoying Mutes out of the way, they can do so. Like we saw previously, for example, when they were trying to deal with the Mute Jammer that Snake had to hit with his shield from Blitz. Well, not literally hit, of course. That would have been funny to melee Mute Jammer. But Snake is actually going to be back on that Lion, something he played a lot last map. Not as much this map when we saw Crazy on it. But Crazy's going to be on that Thatcher instead, something I think he was playing a little bit on border.
I think there's going to be much more standard than we thought before. I mean, I would personally exchange the Sludge for a Capitao, and this would be very, very good. It would just complement a standard strategy that I've been seeing so much of in the past year, basically, with this push on downstairs, basically.
Well, what we saw a lot of the being effective for the defenders in the previous rounds was delaying the meeting hall, right? Was the big reason they were able to win these defense rounds. Last round, they weren't able to defend it as long as they would like, just do a good coordinated push there that we saw taking out the 2 people in meeting hall. Now, though, I'm not sure the Glass is the most effective one to help a push on the meeting hall like that, so they're going to have to count on people like Bosco and Gurmy to help push that meeting hall and clear it out. Because if there's a good meeting hall defense, again, from a Space Station, Air might be stalled out quite a bit because they do have that mute to help delay that. Ooh, took a little bit of damage in that, but got the angle open. They do have top floor control at least, but they need to turn this into meeting hall control or we're going to see a little bit of a last-minute round again.
Yep, and, well, we've seen teams before using the Ying to block out the meeting hall and throwing a smoke. You always would like to smoke your opponents and not on yourself. So
especially if there's a Glass in play.
Yeah, when they emerge as well from the smoke, then they have no idea how you're set up as an attacker, and that's when you can always have the one player that's just protecting your back or one player setting kitchen that can nail the headshots if need be.
He has the grenades here as well to be able to do this, and then combining this with the EE1D, he is in a tough spot. Goodbye.
Oh boy, nice.
Sorry, Dave. Hope you caught that with your mitt because you were Snake though, and Bosco following it up with another one. It is all down to just 2 defenders already with 1:22 left and 5v2 with a Lion and a Glass. Space Station probably not going to win this, let's be honest.
Chala getting a bit aggressive there with the smoke, but Redeemer almost going for a quick engage here against Bosco. Again, Bosco has pretty much done his job and even more through the round, and he'll get 1 kill. Redeemer will go down to the floor. Chala has not been spotted, but as I say that, my man just comes in and Ear Eternity tie it up 3-3. Honestly, this is much closer than I thought it would be.
That's a good combo, though. See, you have the situation where he's laying down to not move because of the Lion triggering, and so it's
then the Glass.
So the Glass is just like, but I can see you anyway. So I'm sorry, buddy. You're I don't know. There's not much you could do in that situation because had he tried to run to avoid the Glass, he would have had to try and find a hard wall to stay alive.
And then probably had to be forced to retake, and that's even more of an impossibility.
Exactly.
When the Glass can just rotate up or just watch into the hallway, there's so much that can be done as an attacker. When you have the manpower advantage, there's definitely nothing much that you can do.
So far, both teams replicating each other's successes. Both teams successfully defending the basement, both teams successfully attacking the top floor, and both teams successfully attacking the bottom floor. So with a strong defense start falling apart now down to 4 rounds in a row of attack wins, it is all on them to try and figure this out. Because they don't have to go upstairs now, they can try and make adjustments to what didn't work last time. And they've got to figure out maybe we can hold that meeting hall longer. Obviously, my man being on the castle means they're going to try those meeting hall defenses yet again. Be interesting to see if maybe we see some mirror adjustments in terms of how that's played to be able to defend. One thing we actually used to see from Redeemer specifically on Space Station was they used to play downstairs and they were, or even when they were guarding upstairs, and they would completely reinforce the wall facing into laundry and then play the echo instead of playing with a mirror window. And it was actually very effective because they would also have the Ella able to chuck the little mines over there into the smoke and stop a plant as well. But that's just not as effective with Lion in the mix anymore. I mean, the echo could be, but not the Ella.
You see an important change here for my man as he's playing on the castle. We saw before the push from the Lion that was set up through the tower window facing into meeting. Well, now it's been castle barricaded, so it makes it a lot more complicated to peek through. So this gives you an easier way to rotate. If you expose yourself as an attacker through the main doorway into tower, then it won't be a fun spot to be in. Even
he's trying to go for that the footprints again.
Yeah, as we saw from before, but unfortunately won't be able to spot anything.
I think they wiped their feet first, unfortunately for him. I love
Consuela has been through here, that is for sure.
I love that we have a jackal and a lion, right? These 2 animals meant to hunt down the roamers. It's, they're getting creative with their naming. Ooh, this is unfortunate for my man here, who's not going to be able to do much. That was a little bit crazy.
Oh no! Going in for the knife, thinking Nate saves the day, and Trippin gets 1 more. What a round. Oh my god, you have to be feeling so bad right now.
What a gamble that was. Pretty much taking yourself down to half health just to go for that play, too.
I mean, he heard the droning, and that's 101, where it's like, okay, it's time to push, but he was so close up.
Yeah, that almost worked. I'm not going to fault him for that. I think it was a good play, just slight timing, unfortunately, not working out for him. But Thinking Nate does take quite a bit of damage, so not a terrible spot. I like this little angle here with the shield. Almost pays off for him, but he can't land enough of them.
C4 is going to get thrown, and he won't be able to get it. It's Shala from the side, sprays into Crazy. Not sure if even the sidewall was reinforced. And now Bosco close up, sprays into the legs of Chala and takes him down to half HP. But you know what? You don't kill the Habana, you don't do the work. And Redeemer's just set up here with the SR-25. They still have E1Ds to play with and 45 seconds on the clock. This is a pretty good spot to be in if you're SSG with all 5 players alive.
They haven't even seemed to care much about that barbed wire there. They even try to just run through and plant last time. Doesn't seem to be slowing them down much, especially with this coverage from the smokes here. Chala just able to get that plant. Last time a C4 stopped this. This time can the smoke? Sure can.
Oh, no, does not go for the diffuser. But the C4 and all the smokes have been used up. 20 seconds on the clock. And push has to come in. A quick spray, but Bosco can't get the kill. Somehow, the Jackal is alive with barely any HP. Bosco runs in. Skirmy's down on the floor. Just a quick few sprays from the Blackbeard. Redeemer still alive and ready. And now just waiting for a quick peek.
Where's that line?
Try to bait him out here with the smoke. That is very good movement. But Gurmy from below will get the kill on Dave. It gets a bit too aggressive with the peek through from School, and Gurmy pushes in, gets the spray. That's one down on the floor. 5 bullets left in the Vector, but Trip It from above gets the kill. Bosco, just very little ammo left on the SMG, and with the shotgun, barely any time on the clock as well. He gets tagged, and Redeemer cleans him up with a beautiful opening, looking right down the stairs, and Space Station Gaming so close to taking a map.
Yep. I don't know where Dave was with that EE1D drone that he should have been using once the plant was down, but nonetheless, I mean, they were just in such a tough position on that attempted clutch. And that brings Space Station to match point. So far, we've seen back and forth, tit for tat. Redeemer on that Echo? Yes, stick it, my man. All right, so we'll see if we see it. They are bringing a mirror, but I would love to see him pull off the old, let's reinforce the whole wall, and I will sit in B site and drone from there. That could be the good counter here to my man on this glass, because then Redeemer can sit safe and sound, hopefully, assuming he doesn't get attacked from the other side, and stop potentially that glass from doing as much damage as he would normally, because it's a little bit easier to see from the yokai on the roof through that smoke if they go for the smoke.
Yeah.
So we'll see, though, how it plays out.
There's definitely quite a few spots. I mean, there was a time where seeing smoke, or seeing Echo, excuse me, was not an uncommon thing at all when playing Oregon. And now it definitely has dropped off. That hasn't been really the case for the past few months, and especially with this metagame, does not bode too well. But it makes a lot of sense, as you explained before. Echo being exactly the right operator that does not have to move. And as you said again, Devin, you don't have to move. You don't have to go anywhere. You can be in 2 places at the same time.
Not to mention they have a lot of denial here. They have Jaeger able to stop things from going in grenade-wise and things like that. They have the mute jammers to be able to stop some potential droning catch as well. They have the smokes. They have the C4s on Mira. They have a lot of site denial if they choose to use it, but they're obviously going to play it up top first in this meeting hall, like we talked about before. That has been pivotal. There's been a time back and forth where we've seen meeting hall defenses be important. It seems like in this particular matchup, they are pivotal to all of these defenses, sometimes even for the defending the dorms. And we'll see if they're able to actually crack this. So far, attacks have been winning constantly here. If Space Station can finally go back to winning on this defense, they're going to be able to take it to map 3. If not, we're going to see overtime here. But last time we saw this situation on the last map, it did turn into a 5-3. So Space Station now a little warmed up.
It's definitely possible to go the other way here.
Oh, yeah.
As Snake pops his first E1D as it goes into cooldown. And now Bosco from above. Just be trying to find an angle. They do have Gurmy on the Habana. That might just well open up this Mira window. Let us hold up. There is no bandit to be played with, so there is no reason to worry too much about that. And let's just be ready to open up. Actually, there we go. So they open up one of the sides, leading all the way into the meeting hall. It's a very long angle, but there are multiple spots where defenders can be looking through into anybody pushing in from here. And somehow rotating in, opening in the Mira window, and taking down the mute jammer.
Barely dodged those bullets as well. That quick lean to the other direction saved his life, because that could have been a headshot.
Yeah, just lean back and ease our way into it. Dave from above, that's another angle that can definitely shut down any of the attackers.
It's an angle we used to see a lot of Yellow, who we saw in the previous matchup, playing. He would play with Cookies, actually, who was also on the same team, downstairs in the meeting hall, and he would work this angle as Jaeger. And I found it pretty effective So I'm curious if Dave pulled the same thing off. Unfortunately for him, just doesn't land enough shots, and now he's going to be trapped by this Lion.
He's gonna get spotted. At least 100% they know that he's there. Pretty much stuck himself up there to.
Yeah, he doesn't have a shotgun or something, so
yeah.
He's not getting through that wall anytime soon. My man trying to jump the drone up there, not going to work.
Oh, snake nade, nicely done. Just doing so much work here. Dave will get shut down, and now you see all of Era setting up to go for this push. They want to bring it into overtime to take it 2-0. And with one player down on the defense and 30 seconds on the clock, now is the time to go for it. But remember, the Echo, that is the trump card here.
Here
for
comes
Spacestation Gaming, and you see Redeemer moving in, setting up. He pops one, has to pull back, but you see the E1D that's been played in. My man will set up in a much better position, but there is still an Echo drone to try and defeat him. Gurmy sets up in a small angle right by the side. Bosco will exchange shots as Redeemer gets one. Trippin will shoot down and take down Bosco. Half a second left on the clock, but the Fuser will get planted. And Shala gets the kill on a snake. 2v2, but he's gonna get dropped. And now the Echo's all on his own. And unfortunately, Echo solo is not that great to have. And as I say that, Redeemer will get the kill on Gurmy. 1-1. Crazy setup from, oh my god, he goes all the way up here. Redeemer playing the elevator game. He tries to go in for this disruption on the Fuser. They'll hear the Claymore getting taken out, and he just checks the Yokai for any information needed. Goes in for the diffuser. Oh my god, no! Check for it! Crazy, what are you doing? Goes in for the last second, but Redeemer's almost done, and he'll take this out! Space Station Gaming!
Best Echo NA.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? Redeemer redeems himself and takes this.
Redeems the dream.
There we go, takes it into map number 3. What a round. We questioned the Echo. We questioned it when the push came in, but you know what? All it takes is confidence.
If it's Redeemer on that, I don't doubt it. I love the way he played it to know exactly when he could safely defuse. That's the kind of play you expect from someone who's played Echo a lot and is a great Echo player. It's just those kinds of thinking that you don't see normally. You don't see someone going, you know what I can do? Instead of doing what everyone else does and run up the stairs and die from school over and over, I will just peek it. And like, if they shoot the drone, cool, at least I know where they're at, and then I can try and fight that. But I think it's so funny because they were expecting him to run up the stairs. He was sitting there. That's why they didn't try and stop the defuse, because he was like, he's going to push me on the stairs. I need to hold this angle. He can't teleport up that hatch. But he kind of did remotely via his drone. So really well played, Redeemer.
200 IQ plays.
Yeah. I mean, they had a point advantage. So it wasn't a situation where they it was super close and they weren't going to win it. They still won it before going to overtime. So well played by SSG, who are obviously a lot more warmed up now. But we have yet to see the Kafe today because it's been the decider both times. So I'm curious to see how the new meta going to affect Kafe. A map that's not been my favorite versus Oregon, but I like the shakeups we're seeing in terms of whether you like Lion or not. The shakeups to all the other operators has been fun. I like seeing all the different operators we're seeing in play now.
And a big shakeup that we saw as well is just the complete way that Kafe has been played. We all watched Sixth Invitational. I hope you did. If not, I'm a bit disappointed.
That was a big part of EG and Rogue as well.
Especially when they came in and completely opened up the top site, basically in bar.
Yeah, not a good idea in the current meta now.
Yeah, had a long talk about this with Kickstarter, and he's like, yeah, we haven't seen this since literally year 1, season 1. So the first season of the game. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
The one where that team hated that map, actually.
And I bet nobody even remembers that, because I can tell you I did not remember that at all.
I just remember the K9 ace as Rook on that map. That was like the only good play out of the whole time, because they hated that map, but it was just, that was funny. And unfortunately, K9 not going to be with us today for him not on Era.
Yeah, he doesn't play for the team. He's not, like...
Oh. No, not dead, obviously. Let's be clear there.
All right.
Down but not out.
Down but not out. Yes, that is for sure. I can't wait to see what more teams form up within the Siege.
Yeah, we thought maybe there wasn't going to be as many roster changes, and then last minute, like yesterday, all these roster changes between these teams. So
NA does not disappoint.
No, not when it comes to shuffles, but it does help that they all at least speak the same language, the language of shuffling. So Kafe, though, we've seen 2 5-3s now. Yeah. So both teams having maps that they prefer. Interestingly enough, the maps that they picked, and I say interestingly enough because actually a lot of times it's the other way around. A lot of teams win each other's maps. probably more often. I don't have the stats in front of me, but that's something we've seen a lot, because we're always talking about, oh, it's their map though, so they should win this, and that seems to come back to bite us a lot.
Yeah.
But in this situation, that is exactly what happened. Era picked, they won their map. SSG picked, they won their map.
And
Whose
both
map
were
was
very
this, really?
close. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So they could have both gone into overtime, but they ended up, finishing 5-3. So it's definitely the exceptional plays that won out. We saw on Border, where it was the Legion play that played the 2v1, and then the final kill that took down the Buck as he was planting the diffuser, and that was Era's win. And then we went on to Oregon, where in the final round, we saw SSG, Spacestation Gaming, of course, winning with the Echo play, the 200 IQ play with the Yokai drone. So that is very much something you do not expect, but we didn't really expect to see Kafe this early, but it is time. Kafe Dostoyevsky for our tie-breaker. 1-1 between Spacestation Gaming and Era Eternity as we head into map number 3.
Redeemer going to be back on that Blackbeard he's been very successful on, so that's not a huge surprise. Crazy going to be the one playing the Echo this time. Now, that's not as big a surprise to see Echo on this particular bomb site. Very effective when played from the A side across the bar, as we often see, because a lot of teams don't push that A side window, partially because it's risky to be rappelling on that window if you don't have good coverage of that reading room door, for example, or the white stairs jump out window, which some teams will use. But that is still something that can definitely happen. We've seen more teams doing it, I think, than we used to, playing on that A side. So with that in mind, that makes the Echo a little less safe over there if they're able to take that side of the map. But then again, they're usually going to push for the plant there anyways, and that's a situation where you can rotate to the other side. Now, we typically always talk about this is a very much cigar-heavy push for pretty much any bomb site on this map, of which there's really only 2 played. A man looking like he's taking a little nap there, just waiting for his moment. Maybe just checking for some drones coming up those stairs. So like that good coverage. Could have used a mute jammer to do that, but decided, I'll just deny them manually with my gun. They're going to go ahead and open up quite a bit of these walls. Play the old mirror window in the bathroom trick. So they're going to open up the rotates manually with the shotguns rather than impact nades. That is going to give them some flexibility in how they play this. However, that being said, as we were saying earlier, Rogue doing that a lot, but then that situation with a line in the mix can bite you because now you have a lot more walls they can shoot you through rather than reinforcing those, for example, in a situation where then you don't have to worry about it as much. But we'll see how they play it. Redeemer coming around here to help push the piano, I imagine.
Now, you speak of reinforcing walls. We're having this conversation with Zeronic, of course, Alex being very well known in the professional community. He was saying, what if there was an operator that literally just had 4 reinforcements instead of 2? That would be an ability that I can see working.
Like the opposite of a recruit that only gets 1.
Pretty much.
Or just make it a recruit option. No gadgets, 4 reinforcements.
Bomb located by attacker.
Speaking of theory,
it's a good thing they don't listen to us.
Right. All right. So, speaking of which, you got a lot of fear of jump outs here. Thinking Nate having to hang upside down to cover his teammate. And that's one of the hard parts about attacking this top floor is when you work those windows, you have to be super careful. But I like that attempt there. Is that going to land? No, unfortunately not. And he's going to expose himself to that Blackbeard. Easy kill for Redeemer. Unfortunate for my man, who is now an ineffective mute.
Unfortunately for him, he'll go down. Hasn't really been able to do too much.
At least his jammers will stay alive for a moment.
Exactly. At least he lives on in memory, literally. And you see the mute jammers have been set up behind the mirror window. That is something to deny the Habana charges from going off. Thinking Nade will set up his nade here just to take down the barbed wire that are basically holding off anybody pushing through Cigar. Information will get relayed in through Thinking Nade's drone. As you see, Snake Nade is setting up a very tight angle here as he spots the rotation. Thinking Nade is ready for him as 5v3 and the E1D will get popped. Gurmy, thankfully, will not be moving, but he's going to get spotted. Both angles are very difficult for him to deal with, and especially from that skylight there. Has to rely on Crazy to help him out here. C4 will miss, but the diffuser will get planted, and what a spot here to run in through. I'm not too sure how he didn't even spot the leg there, but Thinking Nade peeks up and gets one more 5v2, and the E1D will give them so much information. And honestly, if you're the defense here, you're not really looking for a win at the end of this one. And Redeemer will get the final kill. Thinking Nade, definitely MVP of this round.
Yeah, nearly a flawless round for them as well. Had Gurmy not got that 1 kill, that would have been over. And that was I just feel like they had angle superiority by far. They just seem to be winning all their gunfights from all the different angles. And Era didn't seem to have any way to crack it and slow down that momentum. And I wouldn't even say that was as much due to Lion. It was just really they couldn't find those angles and win those gunfights before the Lion even came into play. Seen our first IQ as well. Something we've seen quite a bit if you bring a Thatcher, for example, which they are, to be able to get some idea from the roof what utility is there, drop those Thatchers, be able to stop things like Valkyrie cameras, which of course they're not bringing, but you could potentially do some damage. Also, there is a Pulse on the board, which of course is going to be the foe of Bosco here, who could track Thinky Nate around a little bit depending on how close he plays to that ceiling.
It can be very, very complicated for the Echo here because, as you say, Bosco's on the IQ. They still have Crazy as well that's playing Thatcher. This can turn very sour for the Echo drone.
Yeah, absolutely. We are seeing a castle, though, this time from Space Station, which we didn't see from Era, which can be set up along with those effects to provide some different rotations. Might be useful here to try and help seal up.
5 seconds to insert.
The reading room looks like they want to take control of that. That can be pretty useful in controlling the pillar side. Also giving yourself the ability for those late runouts I was talking about if you want to try and put pressure onto people hanging out on the A side if they do so. I mean, that obviously helps when you have black eyes out there to be able to get some vision on it. But nonetheless, they're giving themselves some extra mobility. However, setting up for roams and plays down in reading room, obviously less effective with the roam control you're going to get from Lion.
Yes.
Interestingly, they have a man on the Ying as well, something we didn't see last round either from the attack. So you're going to see probably a little bit of shock and awe. What they're going to do probably is going to clear first. They're going to have Bosco do some intel work up here, have the Thatcher from Crazy clear out as much utility as possible with those. Then they're going to be able to do a lot of damage once they come down with those Candelas because there's a lot less to stop that. They're not going to have much ADS pressure to be able to stop the smokes coming down with them as well.
The interesting part is that we literally only see one player in Pro Tier that actually plays with a 612 on the Ying, and that's Hungry from 1UP.
He's still probably my favorite.
He
Ying
is,
player
in
by
my
far.
mind, literally the best Ying in the
Is
world.
to Ying what Redeemer is to Echo, right, I guess?
Pretty much. He is absolutely insane of how he does it, but it's a very different way of playing versus a T95. You play with the 612s, you get really close to your opponents, and it can really push the defenders into a tough spot. Imagine that comboed with a Lion.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, it definitely could be interesting. I mean, we'll see when we see what 1UP has in store in the future.
EU coming up.
Interesting, we have Redeemer actually back on the Echo. We were just talking about as well. Something that was very effective in the previous map and not so effective for the last round for Era trying to run that Echo, who was stuck in a tough spot. He did, try his best, though. I will give him some credit for that. Here's some nice clearing out coming from Bosco. Now that he knows he's cleared out a lot of utility, one of those Outbreak skins coming into play there as well, make it a little bit harder to tell who's who, so that plays a little bit into intel, but of course you have to get those skins, which means you got to buy those packs. They are clearing out from Cigar now. They're getting ready for the push. They've got coverage from the Skylight. My man going to be able to provide both utility and gun coverage from up there, which is nice. He can throw down the smokes, which he's going to do in just a second. 3 Candelas ready to come out and blind everyone who's in Freezer as well. Stop any kind of push back. Now they're going to be able to go for the plant successfully. All he's got to do is watch Freezer doors, but he's actually going to drop instead.
And the ADS is going to take down 1 Candela as thrown in. The second one will get thrown out as well. And I think it was taken down by an ADS as well. So there you go. Dave rushing in here for the kill, taking down the Ying. And well done here to turn into a 5v4. Chala taking a lot of damage on the Mira, but ready for them here. Bosco will go down and tripping with the double. Make it a triple. And that is perfect play with the UMP. Now Crazy dropping in at the last second. No more EMPs to play with, only breaching charges on the side. The L85, you know what? It's a good rifle, but not when you're facing against so many angles from the defenders. And that's Dave that gets the last kill.
My MVP of that round, because he stopped both Candelas, and that really stunted that push. He was able to push right back without being blinded, because they were so thinking that that Candela would go off. Even the second one, okay, the second one will go off, it's fine. I'm going to get coverage from where Dave's at, that A site isn't going to bite me, and it absolutely did, because it wasn't an effective push at that point, and I liked that.
And that's the thing, ADSs were not set up on the site, they were set up in the back of the site, and especially by the cocktail bomb.
They were ready to counter, I mean, whether it was intentional or not, they were ready to counter that IQ Thatcher push as well, yeah. And so, well played by Space Station, giving themselves the early advantage. Something we haven't seen a lot of is a 2-round start like this. Usually seeing a lot more back and forth. I mean, we may never know whose map this was in terms of who really wanted it versus who just was settling for it. But in this case, Space Station, I would think, probably did want it because they're playing very strong on it. However, winning your defenses, of course, means you have to go to the secondary site Now, much like Border with ventilation, this becomes a split defense site. You still have to defend a little bit of the top floor, but it's much harder to do so because you've got the skylights. You have less flexibility to rotate, combined with all the windows, which they can get a little bit more control of because you don't have as much coverage upstairs. Combined with Lion as well, this split defense, I think, is a bit harder than it used to be, making this more of a strong attack on some of the different sides. So it's really going to be a much harder defense than before, so that leans a little bit in Space Station's favors to potentially take it to 3-0, which puts Air in a really bad spot.
Definitely a bad spot to be in. So, Trippin will go in. Redeemer as well. Remember, the mute jammers have already been set up. They won't deny these drones, though, as they come in. They check the fridge. Nobody's in there. Crazy, though, is top in the...
They're trying to play quite a bit of roam, surprisingly. I don't think the mute jammers are really protecting them, but they really want to be able to at least deny or force them to use.
It might just be, yeah, there we go. And that's the mind game as well. It's like, oh, there's a mute jammer. Well, mute's all the way in the back on the white stairs. He can definitely go for a quick push if needed. Has a C4 as well if he wants to clean things up. And the Blackbeard that's set outside.
They gave Chala control of this room pretty easily, unfortunately. I mean, I probably meant to just roam upstairs as long as they safely could, but giving this up to Chala is obviously going to cost them. Now they have a lot of top-down control of the actual site. They could open that with Trippin if he comes in with Hibana. They don't even have to use his thermite charges. He even picks up his drone. A little too comfortable up there. This is the time you need a C4 or something to do some damage from below and really put a scare in them. And Dave the Ripper, rip for you, buddy. I want to consider not cheating in the future.
Clear.
There we go. Hibana charge will get used up.
Oh,
and
there's that
C4 is going to get thrown in.
Unfortunately,
though, you can definitely play around and take down the charges.
I like how you use the solid floor as well to kind of hide.
Definitely logical here. The drone's going to get set down, and Redeemer will get the first kill here. Snake Nade will get eliminated. Space Station looking pretty good. It's Crazy has to fall all the way back down. You see the Valve on the floor, unfortunately for her. And Dave just looking down, making sure no Mira peeks through here.
Two for Redeemer.
Yeah, there we go. Gets the second one. That's Skirmy out of play, and that's the Mira out of play as well. Dave now set up. You see the flashbangs are being thrown in from Chala. Dave might just rush in. You're waiting for the E1D to recharge, and then he'll pop it at the end, but Crazy will get one on Trippin. Hibana out of play. Not a big problem, though.
The hatches open.
Yeah, there we go. All the hatches have been opened. E1D will get used, and my man rotating in from the white stairs gets the kill on Thinking Nate, turning it into a 3v3. Things finally get a bit more complicated here for Space Station, but Dave has rushed into the engine room on A. And we'll have to go for the diffuser plant. Smoke's going to get thrown in as well as the C4, and Crazy will get the kill. That's Dave down on the floor, as well as the diffuser. And they'll have to run for it as Chala too low on health here to really peek against anybody. The castle wall working perfectly for him. Crazy will get one. Diffuser will get planted. No, it will not. My man rushes in for the final kill. I loved my man's perfect peek with the castle from white stairs, rotates up into the cocktail bar, gets the kill on Thinking Nate.
Yeah. I feel like that the attack lost that round, partially because they stalled out once they had control of the top floor. They were great, but oh, let's get top floor control, let's get the hatch open, we're doing fine, we're clearing it. And then you just saw them all standing over the hatch praying, hoping that they could get some easy picks. And because Arrow was just totally denying picks and had the flexibility of those roamers, plus those castle walls, making it so they had some ability to rotate around. Just well played. As you said, the castle as well with a great peek and kill early on started to really put the fear into them of roamers in a situation where maybe Dave just wasn't doing his job well. He probably shouldn't have even been the one going for the plant at that point. And so I think it was just a little bit misplayed on their part. And that's what gave Era their first point on this map. Now we're going to see that fuse brought out again, combined again with Snake on that line. Should be interesting. A man with a shield as well. Fortunately for Snake and Bosco, they haven't been showing up this round as well as Chala with another donut, but more kills on Space Station all around.
And this is what I'm liking for the attack. Bosco with the fuse.
Yeah, I think if they can, I mean, last time we saw top floor control come pretty easily, but they didn't really use it. They didn't have the buck to buck up on the floor. They didn't do anything from above. But this setup definitely screams, we're going to use that top-down control, and we're going to clear out the map. And then it's going to have to be a retake strategy.
Yeah.
If they can't stop that fuse.
And even then, you can play the hatch to your advantage. You can play those pre-opened up sidewalls leading into the engine room to your advantage as well.
Plus, they've got my man on the blitz, something I don't think we've seen on this map yet either. And that can be very aggressive. So the nice thing you think about as well, when you combine line with blitz, your ability to face check and control roamers becomes very effective. You don't necessarily need to depend on drones as much because he can just stomp around the map. Now that he's faster operator, he can go around and clear manually a lot faster because it's a situation where you just pop that line and all of a sudden they can't move to go anywhere else to run away from him. And so it becomes very effective on pushing them. So that combined could make it very easy for them to take this top floor control as my man's already dropping in, getting set up for that. Now they're going to have to vacate.
It's literally a blitz here as my man coming in. There's nobody in the bathroom to play against him. You see Dave rotating out with the Jaeger here, just moves away.
That's going to clear him out for sure.
Yep, he's got to fall back. The White Stairs is still kind of in their control, but Chala will get spotted below. Not a biggest problem. Bosco taking a bit of damage, but the hatch has been opened, and they completely let go of Cigar Lounge, and this is now the time for Bosco to shine with his hurrah already.
Here goes some utility if they had any down there.
Yep, he's going to pull the second one down into the train area, and nobody is there, thankfully, for the defense, and still Legion is barely hanging on for dear life. And this is perfect. Now, instead of using my man on the blitz aggressively, you can just use him to hold the white. Yeah, that's it. White Stairs are now completely cleared. No way anybody can push them through there.
Yeah, good luck. If they start even coming up, they're going to get flashed pretty much instantly because they're going to be looking around that corner. Oh, thinking they just hiding. Speaking of corners, it's an interesting spot to be in. Now Crazy even opening the floor. Don't need Sledge when you've got breaching charges. Unfortunately, that is the end for Thinking because that corner is very exposed to that angle from Crazy. And they're really using this top-down control, unlike Space Station. So this could definitely swing back in favor, and we could see a 2-2 situation very soon.
That was the last charge that was just used up, and Bosco pretty much expends everything that he can do.
They could go for the plant at any point here at this point because they've cleared it out pretty heavily.
Time to rush in maybe here as Bosco will drone yet again. Nobody is spotted on the sites, and now they realize their opponents are left very much away. They go in. My man has set up himself in
that plant
their library.
Yeah, this is going to be a really tough retake in that corner as well. They've got so much coverage, and my man's going to be choking that rotate so easily. Nice call out as well.
Crazy will get one to him for himself. My man, though, will get shot from the side. And now the mirror wall somehow is working to the deficit of the mirror as you see a quick spray in. And Bosco will land the final shot on Trip, and well done here from Era Eternity. Just showing that they have understood perfectly how to play with a blitz. Instead of just running around the blitz aggressively, they play him passively until they need him to push. The only times that we saw him really shine on the blitz there is going in, clearing up the top floor. So far, pretty impressive plays from both teams, but especially Era.
Yeah, I would have liked to see that kind of attack from Space Station Gaming, and I feel like that's why they lost the previous round, and now they go from a 2-0 to a 2-2 just because they weren't able to capitalize that, and Era definitely were able to. But that means we can go back up to top floors. So here we go, top floor for Era, who I believe have not won this defense, so we're going to have to adjust that. But we'll see if they can make those adjustments. They are going to be bringing out that mute again. Unfortunately, still donut from Chala, so hopefully he can pick it up. He has been a good fragger previously, so
both are previous maps.
This map has just not been great for him. Not that doesn't mean the team is not doing good. I just feel like we can see a little bit more from him in terms of that. But that sometimes comes down to opportunity as well. So they're going to be setting up a similar defense to what we saw before. Redeemer has been very effective on that Blackbeard, though. So I expect good things from him. I would like to see Dave use his line a little bit more effectively. But nonetheless, they have been somewhat successful as we are on map 3, obviously. So they are definitely concerned about some cameras potentially as well, but none out here. No spawn peaks as well. We haven't really seen a lot of spawn peaks. Something that I feel like sometimes we'll see against the Lion players because just you hope to get the pick early and take a lot of that utility off the board, or even maybe hit one of the hard breachers or something.
Honestly, it just, I think it turns it into a much bolder play than it was before.
It needs to be a Vigil play, right? The old Vigil Boss G peak. I'd like to see some maybe. We'll see,
that's PTSD for me.
PTSD. Is that the new operator, PTSD? So they are going for a lot of control of the train side here. Not actually pushing just yet. They're definitely concerned about runouts because they want to get this piano control. So Redeemer playing smart angles. Going to be able to open up, take out these batteries, make it easy for Chala to open that wall. Kills or not, he's definitely been effective at doing his job here. Does take a little bit of damage, but it's not much. And then good scar control from Thinking Aid is going to make this piano take over fairly quick. But then they've got to push from there, of course. There is the mirror window in the bathroom they're going to have to contest with. They do have Hibana to be able to do that, but no Thatcher to be able to take out any kind of batteries that could be on it, as well as mute jammers from my man, which undoubtedly there's going to be at least one of those to keep that mirror window alive in the bathroom.
And you already see the MP5 SD being used up, so Europe have pretty much revealed their trump card. And here with Echo, so Space Station will be able to keep that in the back of their minds as they try to push onto the site. The mute jammer is definitely working well here. Thinking Nate tries to maneuver around them to get any information of players that are set up in the freezer. Stave goes in for an extra drone and take control of Skylight, obviously very important, but Snake Nade will push up and get kill number 1 here into Cigar. They haven't been able to take him or push him away from this position here, in Chala will go down on the third. Oh my god, are you kidding me? One more!
This is the Snake Nade that lost this fight the very first round as well.
And still, Thinking Nade gets the frag on Bosco, even with him being taken down. Just lob the grenade as like just a second too late really there with the frag.
It was his martyrdom perk.
Thank God that does not exist.
Yeah. Oh, here speaking of these hacks here comes out Lion right for the plant coverage. Is going to make it hard, but the Echo doing fantastic job. Crazy trying to channel his inner Redeemer here, but Trippin cannot find it.
Oh, C4 is going to get thrown up for my man, but he won't be able to get the kill. Now they're trying to pinch them off. Crazy sets up again, but Redeemer forcing him to walk right into his line of sight. Redeemer getting one more disadvantage. The Snake Nade is still set up. They know where he's at, but the Fuser will get planted. He's going in for the headshot and nails it. As Trippin gets the kill on Snake. 2v1, but so little HP left, and Redeemer gets the last one on Crazy. Back and forth between both of these teams here, as both are looking for the first win to put on the board.
Yeah, this is, again, we're back in the double elimination format that we were in previously. We have not switched over to the best of 1 round robin.
Not yet.
Which means double elimination, 2 eliminations, and you are out. So you definitely need to play these early games well. You don't have time to warm up. You don't have any kind of like, well, it's fine, I've got next week. It's like, yeah, maybe next week, and that's it. Yeah, so a situation where we even see good teams like Evil Geniuses go out back when they were Continuum due to the double elimination format. So it is brutal, and one of these teams has got to go down to the losers bracket. So far, looking like Space Station could be the one to stay up top, especially now with Redeemer back on that Echo.
Yeah, well, let's see if I'm going to be spaced out in here, but so far it's looking pretty good for Space Station. Everybody putting up the work on the board, especially Redeemer, as you say. I mean, that previous round playing the Blackbeard. Everybody switching over to the SR-25. Mark 17,
yeah,
not the flavor
DMRs are starting to shine. That's why I'm waiting for someone to use the DMR as well on Lion, but between Dokkaebi and Buck and Blackbeard, DMRs have definitely gotten a lot more attention. So, but yeah, obviously the drum mag vector is a little effective, so we'll keep it. We'll keep it for now. Watch that. That'll get the nerf right, and then they'll be on the DMR. You just watch.
It's gonna take a lot of work to get people to switch over to 417.
Speaking of DMR, we've got my man on the Glaz. That should be interesting. Instead of running a Blackbeard like Space Station do with the Redeemer, they're just gonna go with the yellow highlighter and see if they can make their mark.
And everybody's switching around these skins. As obviously you see Gurmy on the yellow skin as well. Makes it so you can confuse the Hibana and the Lion, even though obviously Lion has the backpack on his back.
Also, it's more sanitary.
Yes, that is. Hibana is a very much well-known stickler.
Yeah, this OCD tendencies do factor in. You gotta role play the characters, or you can't win these matches. Let's be honest.
It's all about the mind games.
Yeah. So speaking of mind games, Lion hanging out downstairs, surprisingly not upstairs, where you'd usually expect most people on the roof. Maybe he's concerned about any kind of flanks and just watching those. But it is risky to be, like, if you're Lion, you want to be in the safer positions, and the roof is the safest place to be. So hopefully he doesn't get picked early, because as we know, even one Lion use is enough to help a lot with momentum in terms of clearing out roamers. The old Claymore, the ever-effective stalwart. of attackers. Fortunately, this momentum seems to slow down a little bit. We saw before Bosco wasn't able to clear out enough utility for when they had Ying to go for the attack. So instead of Ying, they're just bringing in Glaz this time. Maybe it'll be a little more effective. Now that they're not as concerned about ADSs from Dave.
A bomb has been located.
Well, Castle's going to take down the drone. Final second here, E1D will get used up. Great use here of the Echo, and still one more. They can't even find it. Oh my god.
He is the Roomba from hell. They just are not going to be able to find his drone. He knows how to play it so well. So unfortunate. And those the Castle's actually working against them as well because he's able to move it right underneath that door and they cannot follow up the shots on it. Thinking Nate also providing some great intel. Bosco not realizing he's there. There we go. Maybe he'll find him. There we go. Nope, that's still too far, I think, for him to catch Pulse. So he is just going to be able to do his thing. Redeemer once again doing his thing, but Lions
is going to get thrown out. We've seen this so many times, and they'll drop at least one player from this here, as we see.
Oh, he gets the ping on him too.
My man is just going to have to fall back. Gurmy will go down to Dave. As Chala sets up for the second, thinking Nade gets one, and that's the spray. Bosco, though, yet again, going ham with the grenade, taking down Trippin. Unfortunately for him, Bosco, though, will get the second as well. 2 versus 3, and 16 seconds on the clock. Echo, Mira, and the Pulse are still alive. And at least from what I can see it, there's no more C4s alive.
Yeah, Redeemer's still alive. Good luck getting that plant down.
Look at this angle,
Chala
cheeky angle. Chala able to get one. They go for the second peek, and that's an easy frag for Redeemer. Peeks up behind the cocktail bar, and that'll be Ira down on the floor. Space Station Gaming this close.
Yeah, with Redeemer playing like that over there, I think you need to put some more pressure on that A site. They just seem to get stalled out so fast. Once they got in, I really like the combination of the Castles plus the Echo, because you were just stalling them out constantly in Cigar, because Cigar control is supposed to turn into piano control. But because of the Castle there and the people playing inside the piano, they were able to just stall them off for so long before they got in there. And then the additional intel from the Pulse was really calling things out. The C4 did the down and then got the finish as well in Gurmy. And they had so much control of that site with the way they were playing it and with the setup and the operators they were using. It just did not seem like Era knew what to do to play against it. The Space Station dominated that, now bringing it to 4-2. Looking like the end of an era could be upon us here, as first time seeing Kafe with this new meta slowly swinging in the favor of SSG. Look at that, Redeemer trying to give crazy run for his money. Thinking Nate even with some assist as well at 6-1. Just doing a good job.
Yeah, even with Chala not really performing as well as
maybe
we saw him
else
playing.
Stealing his kills.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Redeemer and Crazy are taking them from him.
Yeah, he played so well on those first 2 maps, and here, well, if my teammates are going to do the work, then, hey, I'll just, play that support role.
Well, yeah, he's been playing a lot of Thermite as well, so it's not as expected for him to do frag, because it's not just that he's also, he's going to do his utility and can frag, but he's also carrying the diffuser. And when you're the Thermite on diffuser duty, it's a situation where you really need to stay alive because you don't want to die with that diffuser in a compromised position and botch your whole take.
Very much so. Snake Nade, of course, on the Valkyrie. And then just switching around, setting up his lines of sight.
Where's the Dokkaebi to hack the cameras? Unfortunate.
Hackerman.
Hackerman attacks again. Drones just flying down the skylights as they are trying to get some idea what's going on in this top floor of the castle. Also going to make hard work for them upstairs from my man. Bosco playing the interesting angle downstairs, surprisingly, as a smoke downstairs. Probably not the best place for him, but if he's going for throwing from below, that can definitely work. And that might be what he's set up for, to perhaps throw from the freezer or some other interesting way of playing it. But downstairs, him and Mira are both going to have a lot of hard work to try and stop an attack. However, it has taken a minute, and they have not actually taken control of Piano yet, despite it not being contested.
I mean, the view is so nice from up here.
It's true. They definitely want to take it. Look at those clouds. Magnificent. Remember they reworked the skybox a little while ago in their lighting? It's nice.
Even some of the colors for floorboards, etc., have been changed around with our most recent patch. So
I'm looking forward to the future when they can completely reskin maps and we get like the Outbreak version. And it's just this devilish skyscape.
I hope you guys have played Outbreak because it's pretty darn fun to play with your friends.
This isn't Outbreak?
Yeah, somehow it is not. No.
These guys are monsters. So they have a lot of top floor control here. Surprisingly, not turning it into anything. This has been the downfall of Space Station, though. They take this top floor control. They took 2 minutes to do it this time, and they're doing nothing with it. Where's thinking open up the floor? Where's the angles down from low? Where's Redeemer playing on the window or playing some other angle?
They're so
There he
afraid. They're so afraid of what happened before, just holding off the
Yeah.
white stairs, that right now they just want to play it safe. And unfortunately, this means burning so much time.
Yeah, this is looking like we could see Era just take this off time.
38 seconds on the clock, and so far, no damage done. E1D will get blasted, and C4 prep maybe here from Gurmy. Nobody moving on the defense as E1D goes into cooldown. C4 thrown up,
The
and
timing.
Redeemer. Perfect play here with the DMR. Gets to kill the SR25s, and he opens up an extra
seconds.
angle. Needs to push right here, right now. Stop bashing this and jump on down. 15 seconds on the clock as E1D will get used up here. Perfect angle from behind, my man playing the main stairs. There's advantage. Bosco gets one, but Diffuser will get planted. Bosco with one more, turning it into a 2v2. But a bit of damage done, and Dave can still use his E1D. Chala is set up, and Bosco somehow can't land the shot with his shotgun. He's down on the floor. My man trying to enter in from the staircase. As he runs in, they get the spot on him. But Diffuser set up in such a brilliant position here that it makes it so difficult for the defenders to push through.
One line charge left.
Oh, my man gets one on Chala. There's so little time left here. Can he play the time? Yes, he can. Dave gets one, but Bosco cleans it up. Does he have enough time here on the Diffuser? Might just be a last-second thing as he taps and taps away. And the Era are so close, but no! What? Space Station will take it. What a close round at the end, but just enough time has been burned by our Thermite and makes it a win for Space Station Gaming. What a hard-fought victory at the end.
For King Leo.
They come back after they lose their first map and border.
Just a warm-up.
Yeah, 5-3 loss. Era takes map number 1. 5-3 win for SSG on the second one, and then a 5-2 here. Thinking Nade and Redeemer definitely highlighted. 8-9 and GG Space Station take the win versus Era in day 1 of Season 7 of Pro League.
And that's good for a team going into a new org like this. They went to a bigger org, whereas Era were sticking with the existing one, so it is good for Space Station to show up